your mind, your body, your soul. I love it when you make me feel like I'm in control. We ain't gotta tell no one, let's keep.
Hey fellow foodies, it's Faye from facefood.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make this easy, moist and fluffy marble cake. So to start, I melted some chocolate in about 15-second increments in the microwave. I used the Ghirardelli bars, but you can use chocolate chips if that's all you have. Just make sure it's a good quality brand. And I also mixed it up with bittersweet and semi-sweet, but you can mix it up as you please. In a separate bowl, I have some hot water that I bloomed some cocoa powder in, and then I also added in some instant coffee granules. So then I set both of those things to the side, and then I focus on the liquids, which I just combine in this bowl. And I'm going to set this to the side as well. And then I have my dry ingredients, which is in the bowl of my stand mixer. I have my flour in there, my sugar, which is technically a wet ingredient, but it's still in there, the leavening, and the salt. So I just have the paddle attachment on there, and I'm going to go ahead and start mixing on the lowest speed possible. And I'm going to start adding in my softened unsalted butter in chunks. And I'm going to do this until all the butter is in there. And then once all the butter is in there, I'm going to mix it still on the slowest setting until it resembles coarse sand. So there should be some small to medium-sized lumps still visible. So this is called the reverse creaming method. I find that this method really does help yield a kind of tender, finer crumb with cakes, so I do really recommend it. Alright, so now that our mixture is all nice and sandy, what we're going to do is mix up the liquid ingredients until it's all combined together. And it will say all of this in the recipe, but I'll just say it on video just to emphasize it even more. Make sure all of your ingredients are at room temperature before you even begin this, okay? It's very, very important, or this recipe will not work. So now at this point, I'm going to add in just a third of the liquids all at once there. And begin to mix it on the absolute lowest setting yet again until it's just moistened. Once it reaches that stage when the crumbs are kind of moistened by that liquid, I can bump up the speed to a medium, which on a KitchenAid is like a 5. And I want to mix this for 2 minutes, no more, no less. Okay, I actually do time this. And if you don't do this correctly, your cakes will come out short and crumbly. Do make sure to mix it for exactly 2 minutes. Alright, so after 2 minutes, I go ahead and stop the mixer, and I scrape down the bowl and the paddle really well. And now at this point, at the lowest setting, I can begin to add in the rest of the liquid ingredients. I do it in 2 additions, making sure to wait until the first addition is well absorbed. Okay, so now when you have all the liquids in there, you would just mix until everything is combined and the mixture is liquid. However, if you find that it's not mixing up well for you, what you can do is bump up the speed to a medium-high and mix it for like 30 seconds, making sure to scrape before you do that. Scrape the bowl really well and the paddle really well, and then bump it up to a medium-high, mix it for like 30 seconds, and everything should incorporate well after that. That's if you have to do that. If you are patient when adding in the liquid ingredients, you shouldn't have to do that. Alright, so that's our vanilla mixture, our base mixture. That is ready to go. Now for the chocolate portion, I have the hot water cocoa mixture here, and I'm going to add in the melted chocolate. A lot of the times with marble cake, people have an issue with not tasting the chocolate, especially with homemade marble cakes. So to combat that, we're adding melted chocolate as well as some bloomed cocoa powder. So what you want to do is just mix this until it's pretty combined. You don't have to overthink it. If there's still a bit of lumps, that's fine. Alright, so that's gonna be our base chocolate mixture. I'm going to add to this some of the vanilla, about a third of the vanilla batter to be exact. Alright, so once the vanilla is in there, you just want to gently fold it. You don't want to overdo this, you don't want to overmix it. Just gently fold it until everything's kind of uniform in color. So a little bit of white streaks is fine, but you don't want it to be like, you know, all vanilla visible. Okay, so that is going to be our chocolate batter, and I'm going to bake this in a bundt pan, but if you want to use a loaf pan or even a round pan, you can do that. That's not a problem. So I'm going to start off by putting just a little bit of vanilla batter down. This doesn't have to be an exact measurement or an exact science. I just kind of pour down as much as I feel. And obviously this will depend on if you like chocolate more than vanilla, and vanilla versus chocolate. That's all it is. If you prefer one more over the other, then that's how you'd pour it out. But yeah, you can just eyeball this, it's not a big deal. Alright, and then I pour down chocolate over the top of the vanilla, and then some more vanilla over the chocolate. And then at this point I would add in the rest of the chocolate. See, I'm making sure to get as even a spread as I can. And then last but not least, the rest of the vanilla over the top of the chocolate. Alright, so now what you would do is take either an offset spatula, a butter knife, a paring knife, something like that. You're going to begin to swirl the cake batter with a figure 8 motion, and you're going to do this 3 times going around. Okay, I do recommend to not do more than that, because that's when your cake batter will begin to kind of just be a chocolate muddled mess. Okay, so if you really want a nice marbled look to it, don't do it more than 3 times around the cake pan. Alright, so this is our lovely cake batter ready to go in the oven. We're going to bake this at 335. For me, it took about 35 minutes, but you're going to bake it for 30 to 40 minutes, and make sure to test it with a skewer or a toothpick, and make sure that moist crumbs do come out when you test it. And once it's no longer jiggly and it comes out with a few moist crumbs, you know that your cake is ready to take out of the oven. Okay, so what I do is after I take it out of the oven, I set it onto a wire rack. I lightly cover the top with just a sheet of aluminum foil, and I let it cool for about 30 minutes. And then after that, I begin to unmold it. I'm using an offset spatula, but I'm making sure the back of the spatula is what's facing the cake, if that makes sense, because I don't want to like poke into the cake. So that's what I did to help unmold it. And then I just flip it over. If you greased your pan really well, then this shouldn't be an issue. It should unmold perfectly fine. Ta-da! No matter how well you grease it, you're going to be nervous during this step, but you know, it helps to ease your nerves if you know that you greased it really well. Alright, so that's our finished cake. I'm going to go ahead and slice into it so you can see the lovely marble look. Remember, whenever you're slicing anything, whether it be a cheesecake, a pie, or a regular cake, you want to make sure to wipe with hot water in between slices so that you get a nice clean cut. You can see how easily it slices. That's because it's really, really moist and nice and soft. So a little corner piece broke off, but that's fine. You can see the marble look that we were going for. It looks great, tastes even better. This is reminiscent of that Betty Crocker marble cake that your grandma would serve you. This is it, you know, but it's homemade and it's made from scratch, and you know that there isn't any gunk in it. It's made fresh, and that's the way it should be done. So you can see how nice and soft and fluffy the texture is. It's really, really good. Nice and moist, yet kind of dense enough to have with a cup of coffee or a cup of milk. Give this a try. The full recipe will be on facefood.com. I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you like this video if you did like it. I do appreciate it. Comment below if you have any comments or questions. Subscribe to this channel for more great videos on the way. And until next time, guys, have a wonderful day.
I've been reading you to figure what you're down for. I wanna figure out to make it come around. But we should quit the game and settle things right here, right now. I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about all the things you do. I wanna take you from everything, no.